the one, the one, the one.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Everybody for coming down tonight, Friday evening, for a wonderful gathering, blessed
Alhamdulillah.
gathering with Bro Arief on the topic of believing in the books of Allah. Obviously, our deen is based upon an amazing scripture, the Quran, and also there are other books which Brother Arief, inshallah, will describe
Yep.
and talk to us about. This will be a very interactive class, I've heard. So inshallah, I'll pass to Bro Arief and to lead the
All right.
session, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan.
Jazakallah khair. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya il mursalin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillah, we gather here today. We thank Allah. We never really enough in thanking Allah for the blessing that, like brother mentioned before, this is Friday afternoon, Friday night, and there's a lot of things going on on Friday night normally, and the people have been tired for the working for about a week, and then we decided, with the permission of Allah, we decided to go here. So may Allah give all the rewards for all the steps and all the breath and everything that we spend here together, inshallah. And we also want to send our salutation to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The topic in hand is the belief in the books. We met. This is our third meeting, right? The first one we talked about the angels. The second meeting we talked about the prophets. Now the third topic today, we're gonna talk about the books of Allah. As my customary, I always try to start with a little of story before we start. Are we good? Okay. All right. So you're gonna be the only one listening right now. So I'm gonna addressing you. Okay. My story. This is a story that I learned from Brother Yusuf Estes. He was here in Hong Kong, I think, a few years back. He was an ex-priest and he became Muslims. I think everyone knows him, right? You know him from US, Yusuf Estes?
Yusuf Estes,
Yeah, he's very quite popular. He's in Peace TV and he's been doing da'wah and talks with Dr. Zakir Naik as well. I remember he's telling a story about how he started reading the Quran. And then he was reading from the first page, and he was so amazed by just reading the translation of Al-Fatiha, and then coming to the second chapter where the book claimed Alif Lam Mim Zalikal Kitabu La Rayba Fihi Hudal Lil Muttaqin. The book itself claimed that this is real truth, there is no doubt. And then he was wondering why there is no other book claim that this book is so perfect, and Huda, and there's guidance for people who pious, who are close to Allah. And then just by looking at that, he was so amazed by that. And then after few more days, and then learning about the Quran, and he become Muslim. And one of my hobbies, actually, if one of my sort of moral boosting, is I look at the YouTube and listening to people embracing Islam and how Quran led them into Islam, and how people are reading Quran. And one of the stories, I remember this. He was reading Quran, and he was in his sort of language, and he was reading it. And he was like the Quran is actually talking to him and commanding him, right? So this is one of the miracles of Quran, that so many people guided just only listening and reading from its translation. So you can imagine if people who are blessed to understand Arabic and to understand the tafsir of the Quran, they will be so amazed. And the oceans, like when I was mentioning in our forum today, this is like an oceans of knowledge, and by the time we die, we'll probably never be able to really comprehend the whole Quran. So today, inshallah, well, actually tonight, inshallah, I'm planning to discuss a little bit about Quran, and some of them probably I'll take one of my journey through in Quran as well, and some of my understandings. Like I mentioned to you, I actually I didn't want to make slides that that I made before, so this is a fresh slide that I spent hours last night and burning the midnight oil. So hopefully Allah put clarity in my tongue, and hopefully Allah allow me to deliver this message as a reminder for all of us. If you already know, if not, inshallah is going to be new knowledge that get us closer to Allah, inshallah. Bismillah. All right. Today I'm going to talk about. Sorry. Yeah. Today I'm going to talk about. Tonight we're going to talk about 4 things. Number 1, what is actually, if someone say they believe in the books, what does it mean? And then the second topic, we're going to talk about how are we sure. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are we sure that this is really the book of Allah? So a lot of things that people talk, a lot of points, I just want to summarize some of this just to be a reminder for all of us today. And Quran is being tagged, has been mentioned as a message and miracle, right? What is the message? The message about Islam, Risalah, they say, is about the law, about the guardians, about Sharia, and so on and so forth. But it's also about miracles. So I'm going to touch a little bit about the miracle side of Quran, inshallah. Of course, we will not be able to spend the whole. We only have probably 1 hour. This is going to be really scratching the surface in terms of the miracles. And after knowing all these 3, then the 4th topic what is it that we're going to do? Understanding the Quran is a miracle, understanding that Quran is really the guidance from Allah, and what's the next step? What is it that we need to do? Right? Bismillah. So, what is actually, when someone says believing in books, believing in the books of Allah, it means that Allah has already sent the books. So Allah sent books. The way of Allah communicate to us is Allah sent books through the prophets, and it's containing the truth and the guidance to mankind, and of course for Rasulullah SAW, in this case mankind and jinkind. And the purpose of this is for us mankind to attain happiness in this life and the hereafter. So that's the purpose of the book. So if I can summarize that, the books that Allah sent through His prophets, right? It has to be His prophets, as I mentioned in our last meeting. It has to be a perfect channel, right? It has to be pure channel from the Jibril alayhi salam, and then from the prophets, right? There's all the perfect channels, like a water pipe, right? The pipe itself has to be clear and pure to be able to deliver the message, and that message is contained in a book. So that is there's a lot of the prophets we mentioned about in our meeting. There are about 100, if you still remember, 124,000 prophets that Allah sends from Adam alayhi salam until Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi salam, and there's probably about 300 something plus 313 Rasul. So some of them has been delivered books, some of them are suhuf. I don't know whether if you look at the end of the Suhufi Ibrahim wa Musa. So not only books, but Allah also sends suhuf. In English it's called scrolls, but it's also suhuf. Some of the prophets has been sent suhuf as well. Okay, what does it mean, the belief? So we believe in Quran, we believe in the book of Allah, means that we believe on the truthfulness of the book, right? Allah only, the reason Allah sent the books is for guidance. Allah says in Quran that sorry, I need to go back to my original setting. Okay. Allah says that all the human being is only one ummah, ummatan wahida, and then people get corrupted, then Allah will send again send the Nabi mubassirina wa munzirin. That means they give us the glad tidings, they give us the good news, they give us the bad news, and at the same time they send the kitab, send the book bil haqq, with the truth. So that's the main reason Allah clearly mentioned here in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 213, that Allah sent this because human being, they got deviation, they got sidetracked again, and Allah sends the book. The second part is, if we believe in the Quran, we believe in the books, what does it mean? That means we believe all the names that Allah revealed. Yeah. Nazala kita nazala alaikal kitaba bil haqqi musaddiqan lima baina yadayhi wa anzala Taurat wal Injil. So Allah also revealed the Injil to Prophet Isa, Injil, and then to Moses or Musa is Torah, and then Prophet Daud. Prophet Daud is Zabur. But also, other than the books, there are Sahifah, there are Suhuf that have been revealed to Musa and Ibrahim. And I don't know, the second prophet after Prophet Adam after Habil murdered by his brother, and Prophet Adam then have another child, and he was named Sith alayhi salam. He became prophet later on. Sith alayhi salam, according to the narration from Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he actually received about more than 50 suhuf, more than 50 scrolls out of 100 plus scrolls that Allah sent down. So it's actually quite big. So not many people, because Sith alayhi salam is not in the Quran, but the narrations about him you can find it in the Hadith. Right. So I believe in the name and also suhuf of Ibrahim. Next one, if we believe in the books, that means we believe the message within the book. That's definitely, we have to believe that the message in the book. What is the message? The message about the story of the past, the predictions in the future, the laws that it brings, the Sharia. So we have to believe that, right? Because it comes from Allah. Allah used this as a guidance for us to make us happy and content in this world and the hereafter. So we have to believe in this book. So that means we have to believe in this message. We have to believe in the wisdom as well. And believing is one thing, is a knowledge, with the ilm. Ilm is not complete without amal. So if you look at the ilm, it's just ayn, lam, mim, and amal is ayn, mim, lam. So just the reverse of it. So if you now have the knowledge, have the wisdom of Quran, then it's all about amal. So you follow the commandments. Some of the commandments in Quran, some of the commandments in Islam, not everyone can directly adapt to that, directly implement that, right? There's one of them, for example, a lot of things that, why Allah asks this? A lot of people, especially people new to Islam or people still young, why I have to pray every time? Why I have to pray? It's just, this is my holiday, can I just take a break sometimes, right? We get questions by our kids like that. But sometimes we as a parents or as an adult, sometimes we ask questions. I think this is a bit tough, it's a bit difficult, this commandment. But it does not mean we should be surrendering. We should know that what Allah reveals to us is always the best. And because of that, if we cannot accept that, the only thing, because our little mind cannot accept that, it takes us, that's where you have to Islam, you have to submit. This is where we submit, that Allah give guidance and wisdom. Sometimes we cannot understand that because of limitation, and this is where we have to submit. Yeah. So believing that this is the message, believing this is that has the commandments we have to follow, and that is what we need to do. There's a number of things that we have to believe. I just want to quote 5 things, and one of the last things that we need to mention is about inna nahnu nazzalna zikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. Allah has sent this Quran and Allah will preserve it. And there is no narration that the other books was also preserved. So there is a story of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu come to Rasulullah sallam, Ya Rasulullah, I found some parchment of Torah. And Rasulullah was upset and saying that, well, aren't you believing the Quran yet? So even if Musa was here, he will follow the teaching that I bring. So that's why some of the ulama, some of the scholars take the fiqh out of this, that we shouldn't be learning the books from the past, because all of the books, we believe in the books that Allah sent this book for the people in the past, but all these books is now the latest book, which is, if I can use, I think probably not a good analogy, but I like to use this analogy. I don't know if everyone using iPhone now, iOS 12 is out, right? So iOS 12 is the last version. No one using iOS 11, 10, 8, 9 anymore, right? So this is the latest version because just like Quran. So this is the latest version, so we don't use the previous version because all the latest versions already embedded all the previous versions already embedded in the latest version. Might not be good, but I think because I'm coming from an IT background, I think it makes sense for me, right? Because now the need, because the hardware is faster, the memory is bigger. I remember my first computer. I remember back then. I don't know. I don't want to mention the year. My computer. I remember that it was PCXT, and then it was. I have a hard drive of 40 megabyte or something, and all my friends they all like just 40 megabyte. There's a hard drive, and it's always as big as a book. Then, and I was so proud of it. Now the small USB drive like 1 gig, 2 gig, 20 gig, right? So how fast the computer evolves. So the latest version of iOS, then the previous version we no longer need it because it's already embedded. So that's how we try to understand that. So sometimes people come to you, especially the missionary come to you. This is Injil. Well, you call it Injil. We don't call it Injil. This is the book that you wrote your own, and it's not Injil. So we don't find narrations where Allah also reserved this book. In Al-Baqarah number 79, فَوَيْلُ لِلَّذِي, woe to you, who they are, يَكْتُبُونَ kitab, they write the book using their hand, and then ثُمَّ يَقُولُ هَذَا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ, they say, this is the book from Allah. So this indicates that people have been trying in the past and probably now still continue writing something that they sort of associate this to God, right? If you look at the other scriptures, they're always versions of changing it every years and different narrations, different language, different translation. Some of the scholars of the particular religion, they say so probably more than 40,000 versions of that. Probably don't quote me on that, but there's actually quite many of versions of. So because of that, is actually human. This is human writing. All right. So these are the 5 things. There are more to this right now, but few things is like we believe the truthfulness of the book. We believe that there is the name of the book that's revealed. We only recognize 4 right now, but there are other Suhuf as well. Suhuf Ibrahim, Suhuf Musa, and then Suhuf Sith. And then we also believe that the message in the book is the truth. If we don't understand it now, that's because our limitation. But inshallah, if Allah wills it, we probably understand the wisdom for it. Probably not now, probably 2 years, probably 1 year, probably the end of our life. Probably we don't even know the wisdom later on, right? But we have to believe that this is the truth. And then, walaikum salam. And then we have to follow the commandments, the order that Allah gives, and the restrictions that Allah put there as well. And the last one is that we have to believe that only Quran is being preserved, no other books being preserved, and that's why this is the latest version. All right, how are we sure, and this is probably more philosophical, I guess, how are we sure that the Quran is from Allah? There are a couple of the notes that I put in here, but I just want to probably highlight some of this with you. If you already heard that, alhamdulillah, it's going to be a reminder for you. First one is, in order for you, this is one of the things before I started today, this is one of the things that I see when people, they're so sincere of looking for Allah, looking for guidance, Allah will guide them. There's one hadith mentioned that if you walk, Allah will run to you. It's that level. So there's sincerity in your heart that you want to find, you want to get closer to Allah, you get closer to the book, you will get that closer. There's so many, I remember in serving Islam, there's almost every week or not every 2 weeks, there's always people embracing Islam. The people come there and sit there, and 1 week, and 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and suddenly, brother, I want to say Shahada. So many people, when they really sincere and humble in this guidance, Allah will guide. The same thing when you approach Quran, you have to. That's why Brother Isa was here last time. He says Alif Lam Mim. You don't know what it means. Intellectual humility. So when you start exploring the book, you have to forget what you have, right? You have to be. I don't know anything. So put aside all your bias. Put aside your understanding. It is all about getting sincere and humble. Intellectual humility. And in Surah number 17, ayat 88, Allah mentioned that Allah challenged people to come up with the book. 10 surah, if not one surah, right? So this is one of the proof that there are people actually trying to write, right? But until now, 1400s from now, no one actually tried to even write a book. So it's a proof that you cannot even write a book like Quran, right? You cannot even write the book like Quran. And Allah also mentioned, if only I think it's Surah Nisa, afala yatadabbaruna Quran walau kana min indi ghairillahi lawajadu. If this is Quran, there is no contradiction. What does it mean, no contradiction? I'm going to give you some examples that will be no contradiction. There are some things that in other scriptures there always you can find, but again, when in this context there's not many contradictions you can find. There's always similarity. There's always structures. Some of the complaint of non-Muslims, your Quran is not structured. The story is all over the place, right? The stories of Adam and Allah and the jinn, there's always 6 and 7 times a different surah. But it's actually, there is a structure to that. It's just a structure, not the structure that normally people put as a book. Oh, sorry. And as I mentioned before, it's preserved. So Al-Quran is preserved that Al-Quran is preserved for us. This is one of the amazing thing that so many Hafiz we found right around us. Even in Tunchung, I live in Tunchung. I think I know 4 or 5 who fast there, right? So this is one of the things that Allah makes sure that Quran is actually guarded because it's preserved. Inna nahnu nazzalna zikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. We the one who send down this Quran, and we will hafiz, we will preserve it. So you can always find Hufaz around the globe. This is one of that one makes us so sure. There is no other book that everywhere in the globe people read this book many times. Like if you say khatam, right? So when you finish say khatam, this is one of the things. I remember, I want to relate this story. Is how I have a high school friend, and I haven't met probably about 35 or 40 years, and he was a Christian, and I'm sure he was coming from a good Christian background as well. So one day I was looking at his Facebook, and he says salam, he says assalamu alaikum, and he say bismillah and stuff like that. No, something wrong here, right? So I just asked him, excuse me, are you quoting this hadith and so on? Are you Islam? Are you Muslim? I said, yeah, I'm Muslim. So what happened? And I talked to him, and he said, probably you've heard this before, but he's coming from someone you know since childhood. It just really struck you and say, you know what? He was in university at that time. He was just doing his study and so on, and I just realized when I was walking from my house to my campus, and at that morning someone making azan. And then after I walk a few meters, there's another sort of like a village, like a suburb. And that suburb, I hear another azan, and then I hear another azan, and I hear another azan. I've been hearing azans because he lives in Indonesia, he lives in a Muslim country, he lives azan. I never pay attention to that. And I just realized, can you believe that every single second in this world, there is azan? Because probably this part of the world is Zuhur, probably the other part is Asar, probably the other part is Maghrib. It is around the globe. There's always azan. You can find people saying azan, and that's what he said. And then it cannot be coordinated by man. That's what he said. Just by saying that, and then he says Shahada. He passed away probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know how long he was a Muslim, but he left a wife and a very young child. It was very sad, but it was overwhelming story for me. But the same thing, if you look at Quran, wherever you go, always people reciting Quran, right? There's no other book that people will read over and over again. If you just ponder on that, right? This is not from human being. There's no other book that people memorize, that people keep reading it, that people keep memorizing it. They say a khatam and then you will not read it. There's always people to do that. And one of the things there's a few parts in Quran when Allah rebuked Rasulullah SAW. That means this is to show that this book is not coming from Rasulullah SAW. There's a few hadith, Abasa wa tawalla, right? And remember that how Rasulullah frowned, and even that it was Abdullah ibn Maktum, if I'm not mistaken, he's a blind man. He came, and Rasulullah was just a little bit, probably you won't probably even notice, like something like that, right? You probably even notice, but Allah saw that, and Allah refuted him through Quran. And even Abdullah bin Maktum, he's also a blind man. He didn't see that, right? But Allah revealed. After the Battle of Badr, for example, Rasulullah says there was a prisoner of war, and Rasulullah asked, "Ya Abu Bakr, what do you think we should do to this prisoner of war?" Abu Bakr said, "Just save them, don't kill them. To probably we can get ransom from them." Yeah, Abu Bakr, you're just like Musa. You're so kind, and you're just like Ibrahim. And how about you, Umar bin Khattab? What do you think we should do to this prisoner of war? And Umar, let's just kill them, right? Let's just kill them. We're not supposed to. Yeah, you're just so strong, like Noah, alayhi salam. And then Rasulullah decided to actually keep the prisoner of war, and Allah revealed an ayah in Surah Al-Anfal that you should not forgive them. So it's a lot of a few narrations, at least three or four that I can find, that Allah revealed and if you look at the Quran, there's no story about his family, right? And the only Sahaba mentioned in the Quran only Zaid bin Haritha. There's no other, not even his family, nor his wife in the book. So this cannot be coming from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this book. So there's a number of reasons why you can see that this is coming from the higher authority, cannot be from mankind. There's also the surah. I put a note in here, but probably some other time about surah when Zaid was asked. But anyway, some other time. All right, miracles. I want to give the concept about miracles first. What is miracle? Miracle is mu'jizat, right? If you look at mu'jizat, there's a few narrations about mu'jizat. One of them that I really believe is coming from the same word that ijaz. That means you are actually kneel down. If you see something that really awesome, that really struck you, that you cannot even stand, you actually want to sit down and you actually kneel down. So mu'jizat, if you see it, you're so amazed by it that you just open your mouth and then you just drop. That's what it means. That one of the narrations about what it means about miracles. And then if you look at Musa alayhi salam, the mu'jizat is he can split the sea opens, right? Think about it. If you, the followers of the Muslims at Musa at that time, at the back you have Firaun try to kill you. And then, yeah, Musa, what are we gonna do now? We're dead now. And then Allah asked Musa to touch the waters, and the water split. And then everyone was safe. You can imagine the people when they walk to this water. This is a sea, like a wall of water. I can imagine now if you have camera, people probably taking selfies and when they walk there and probably just touch the water of the wall of water. And people so amazed, they'll be talking to their kids. Look at that! I saw Prophet Musa open the sea and everything. This is how they amaze, right? When Prophet Isa put people back to life, the doctors, everyone who understands the medical, there's no way it's feasible. There's no way this possible. And when they see someone's actually getting life again, look at the magicians of during the Prophet Musa, when they saw the staff actually ate the whole snakes, they all make sujood right away. This is not sihir. This is people who spend their time. There's about 1,000. There's some narrations say 1,000. There's some narrations about 10,000. All the black magicians, They all spend their life, they're the professionals of black magic, the seher, right? When they saw it right away, this is not black magic. They just go and just sujood. Even Firaun threatened them, I'm gonna chop your heads off, I chop your feet and everything. They don't care. This is really mu'jizat. If we claim that Quran is mu'jizat, have we come to experience what the Muslims during the time of Musa, during the time of Isa, and during the time of when they saw that they really, they really feel amazed and they cannot even stand. Have we ever felt that? Right. This is what mu'jizat. Right. So when we read it, have we felt tears sometimes in our eye, in our cheek when we read? Have we ever moved our hearts? We feel our hearts move because of reading it. So this is what mu'jizat. Okay, that's the concept of miracle. So, in other words, miracle is something extraordinary that normally it will not happen in normal. Like if suddenly I float now, and suddenly I come back again, oh, this is miracle, right? You will see that. But nowadays people will not see that's probably, this is Satan, this is Jinn, this is Black Set. We're gonna talk about here one day, right? Yeah. All right. So what is miracle? Miracle is used to calm our heart. As one day Ibrahim asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, can you please show me how you bring life to death, or bring death to life? And then, you don't believe me? No, I believe. I just want to put my heart to be at peace. Right? So the purpose of miracle is to put our heart at peace. Yeah? That is the purpose of. So some people, if at the time of Rasulullah SAW, when they see the moon split, they don't want to believe, even though they know, this is sihr, this is black magic, even though they know. So sometimes sihr or black magic or something that mu'jizat like that, if you decided not to believe, you will always not believe. Right? So that is the, sorry. Linguistic miracle. How much time we have? Okay, linguistic miracle. The miracles because it comes in the book. If you see all the previous prophets, the miracles are all visual. So when they see, they can. But the problems when the visual, when the miracles is visual, when they see, I saw Prophet Musa split the water, but when they tell the story to the children they cannot see it, right? And the children tell the other children and other grandchildren, they don't see it, they cannot see it. It's very hard for them to. For us, the miracle stays with us. So the miracles of the Quran is not about visual, it's about linguistic miracle, it's about books, right? So I want to probably capture one of the things about why Quran is mentioned to have some linguistic miracle. I just want to give one example. The first example is when there are prophets addressing their nations, they say, Ya Qawmi, all my nations. Prophet Ibrahim, when they talk to their people, they say, all my nations, Ya Qawmi. Prophet Nuh as well, and Prophet Hud as well, and Prophet Musa, they say, Ya Qawmi, all my nations. And then suddenly in the same ayah, just in Surah As-Saf, I believe, Prophet Isa, he says, not Ya Qawmi, but Ya Bani Israel. You think this is a little bit of inconsistency, right? Why all the prophets, when they address the people, they say, all my nations, Ya Qawmi, all my nation. But suddenly Prophet Isa, he says, Ya Bani Israel. And what people put, all of us mankind, right? We call ourselves Bani Adam, even though we also Bani Hawa. Because why? The nasab, the lineage is through the father, right? The Bani Israel, why they call Bani Israel? Because their father is Israel. Who's Israel? Is Yaqub alayhi salam, right? So the father, the lineage, you are what you are because of your father, right? So, for example, my father is Japanese, my mother is actually West Sumatran. People will call me as a Javanese, people from Java. So it's not from not from my mother's side. So when Isa alayhi salam addressed his nation, Ya Bani Israel, he cannot say Ya Qaumi because he didn't have a father, right? So these selections of word in Quran uh, is so outstanding that the selections of Quran that even then all the prophets are saying Ya Qaumi, Prophet Isa say Ya Bani Israel. That what it means. It confirms that Prophet Isa uh, was born without a father, and it also confirms about the modesty and the purity of Maryam alayhi salam. It's an amazing selections of words. I give you another examples I picked up as well last night when I was reading some of the tafsir, and Suratul Luqman. وَوَصَيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ. That the mother wean the kids. What do you say? What do you say mean? Wean, right? Wean. We call it sapi in Indonesia. That means you stop giving milk. You stop only giving milk to your baby and start giving other food. That's what wean means. So Allah says in Suratul Luqman that you wean your kids within 2 years. Right? And then Suratul Al-Ahqaf, Allah says that you pregnant and the woman pregnant and then wean within 30 months. So there's one narration one ayah says 2 years, the other ayah is about 30 months. And Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah says that you can suckle your kids for completely 2 years, not more than 2 years. Right? So I think the mothers can suckle their kids for. And there is a story when during the time of Uthman bin Affan, and during the time someone reported to Uthman and says, I just got married, I just about 6 months married, and then my wife has already give birth, right? Because of that, I want to annul my marriage because my wife was already done premarital sex before, right? So Uthman bin Affan actually put the verdict that the woman was guilty of doing zina. Right, and Ali bin Abi Talib came in, and he says, and also backed up by Abdullah bin Abbas, and says, no, didn't you read these 3 ayah? And he read these 3 ayah. What does it mean? It means that it completely is about 30 months. But if you minus 30 to a little bit mathematical, but if you minus 30 and 24, you have 6. That means the least possible for someone to give birth is after 6 months pregnant. That's what he said. And Ali said, and because that Uthman bin Affan revoked his decision. Then because of that, there's a fiqh after that after, if the baby was born after 5 months of marriage or before 6 months of marriage, then you can accuse them of doing zina. But 6 months is now, it's proven now that I think the premature baby can still be alive after 6 months, even only 6 months in the womb. So that's just because of just reading Quran. There's no medications or no word learning of what do you call that, obstetrician, gynecology. There's no learning about that, but gynecology is it obstetrician. All right. So I have just last night I just went to this book. This is from Darussalam. It's about 300 pages, and I was amazed. A lot of things that I didn't even know. Like the development, the stages of wombs and everything. I think you can Google it. You can find it. Everyone knows. So everyone talking about this, right? How the babies and evolve from just the small of a leech and then become blood and then the flesh and then the son. This is stages of the baby inside the mom's womb. Sorry, the mom's womb, that people will never know, and it was revealed in Quran. There's a lot of stories about miracles of science and so on. I don't want to take. I just want to have these 2 examples and just make a reference to this book. All right. There's also um, miracles. I don't know whether you heard before the numerical miracle of the Quran, that there are 365 the words days in Quran, the 12 words of months in Quran, and so on. Um, yeah, but the thing is, I don't really, yeah, I find it difficult because when they say the word days, they don't count Yawma Izin and so on. So I think it's a little bit, yeah. So it's a bit, yeah, a bit carried away. But there are some people who actually mentions about the number of 19 being the signature of God, and then there's the 19s almost everywhere, and the number of ayahs divided by 19, and so on and so forth. Well, some people are amazed to that. I know some people, some scholars says do not get too excited with that. Some of the structures, what I mean by structures, for example, if you know surah, the couple surah that Rasulullah SAW make them as a couple. For example, Surat Ar-Rahman and Al-Waqiyah, right? And Surah Jumu'ah and Surat Al-Munafiqun, for example. There's a couple of surah, and Surah Al-A'la, Sabbihisma Rabbikal A'la, and what's the other one? Surat Al-Waqiyah, yeah? Hal Ataka Hadithul Huasiyah. So there's a couple of surah. For example, Surat Ar-Rahman and Al-Waqiyah. If you look at Surat Ar-Rahman, there are 5 themes of Surat Ar-Rahman: the Quran, the creations of Allah, and then after that the Ya Ma'sar al-Jinni wal Insi in istata'tum, and so on. That is the hellfire, and then the number 4, the topic number 4 is Waliman khafa maqama rabbihi jannatan, and this is the people of the right, people who have level 1 Jannah. Wa min dunihima jannatan, this is the second Jannah. So Surah Ar-Rahman, the 5 main topics is about Quran, and after that the second topic is about the creation, and number 3 is about hellfire and the people who go to hellfire, and topic number 4 is people go to Jannah, and topic number 5 is people to go to second level of Jannah. The same topic is repeated in Surah Al-Waqiyah, but the order is reversed. Alright. Surah Al-Waqiyah, for example, it starts with the wasabil, not wasabil, I mean wasabikuna sabikun, ulaika mukarrabun, and so on. They start with that. So it's actually the reverse of that. It start about people who Jannah has the second level, people on Jannah on the first level, and then people of the hellfire, wa ashabu simal ma ashabu simal, and so on. And then about Quran, fala uqsimu bimawaqi'in nujum, and so on. So these 2, people complain there's no structures in the Quran. If you look at these 2 surah, they're next to each other, or Rasulullah coupled them together. The topic of that is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the other surah is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is a structure, right? So it's not, and you can see the Quran, they're not all revealed in one book. One ayah there, and then another narrations there, another narration there. But after 23 years, when people compile it, hey, look at this, you can see this pattern there. So that's what I mean. There's the structure, the miracle structure of the Quran, and there's lots and lots of miracle structures in Quran. All right. So that is we cover 3 things. We cover about what we have to believe, how are we sure about the Quran is from Allah, and we cover about some of the miracles, what miracles mean, miracles in structures, miracles in linguistics, and so on. And the last topic is knowing all of this, what's next for us, what we should do. What we should do is knowing that this book is a gift and mercy of Allah, from Allah, that from this book He guides us. For what? To achieve success in this world and this and the hereafter. I just put this quick note because I have a lot of people coming to me and they say there's Quran, and they have their own interpretations, and I think we have to be careful. And when it comes to Quran, we cannot just make our own interpretation. We have to make reference of ulama, the scholars, and some of the references. There's always not pick like a cherry pick Quran, and this throw this to you. I like this. This for my cousin. This my cousin need to hear this, and then send it. There's a lot of people, copy and paste and forward, and sometimes I don't really like that, because you don't actually reflect to you. Every time you see Quran, you see ayah, you see hadith. This is good for this. This is good, and you just post it, right, without really understanding it. There's a few things. Number one, you have to really understand it. You have to learn about that, and then you have to, at least you have to understand how the Sahabat, how Rasulullah understand this Quran and how they implement that. So just a quick note on that. What we should do, at least there's a five obligations for us to do. First of all, read the Quran, right, and understand the Quran, memorize it, implement it, and you do da'wah about Quran. I want to give you an example about before I started learning the Quran and start memorizing Quran. I remember a story. This is probably a story back in 1980s, a long time ago, before the time was WhatsApp and so on. And I remember there's a mom in Indonesia. There's a mother in Indonesia, and his son was his son get admitted into one of the good universities, or one of the best university, and then he's very far away out of town, so he had to travel days. So, and one day, okay, this is the son that he's been looking after. The father already passed away, so it's all tears and everything. Be good, my son, and then always. When are you gonna come? We don't know, mom. Probably a year, probably 2 years. We don't know. At the time, people just use letter. So after the kids go to the university, after 1 month, 2 months, because of busy and everything, probably didn't have a chance. After the 4th month, probably then he sent a letter. He sent a letter to the mother, and the mother, when he received it, he was crying out of joy. Oh, and he kissed, and then she realized she actually don't know how to read. So there's a lot of illiterate people in the village. No, I don't know. And then she was lucky because she has a neighbor who has a small kid go to school. So they pick up the kid. Can you read it for me? And then, oh, my mother. And then the mother start crying. Oh, my mother. I'm busy right now. I'm doing this and doing this. My friends is fine. The school is fine. I'm very happy here. I hope you're doing well, mom, and so on. The mom just crying, right? And then you can imagine all these letters. You put that aside, you read that again. You just reading it, but it doesn't know how to read it. And then a few months after that, another letter comes, and it's exactly from his son again, her son again. But this time, no one there to ask. She went to the neighbors, no kid, no, and then said, where is your son? My son will come probably late in the afternoon. And she had to wait for 4 hours until the kid comes for someone to read this letter, right? And she was crying, and she was after that. And then what happened after that? She decided from now on I want to learn how to read. And she was already like 40 or 50 years old at the time, probably just a bit too old. This is how much you really want to understand, how much return. It's really depicted. It's really shown in how much you want to struggle, right? How many of us? Quran is in Arabic, right? Last time I checked, right? The Quran is in Arabic, but how many of us actually spend time to really fall in love with this Quran? Quran is the only thing that you read it, you got reward. You listen to it, you got reward. When you read it, not only per letter, is not only per ayah, right? Per letter, every single letter you get 10 barakah. So alif lam mim is the 30 barakah, right? 30 hasanah, right? So this is a lot of things that you can learn from these stories to fall in love with this book. And all you have to do is just give this book a chance and sincerely start reading. And I think the greatest miracle of this Quran is the miracle can actually touch your heart and move your heart and move you closer to Allah. I think that's probably, Allah asks us to do one of the ayah that you have to repeat in azkar in the morning and the afternoon is Qul a'udzu birabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq wa min sharri ghasiqin idza waqab wa min sharri nafasati fil 'uqad wa min sharri hasidin idza hasad. The last part, what does it mean? We ask Allah protection for people who have hasad. What is hasad? Is the illness of the heart. If this heart become ill, right? Become the illness of the heart. People can do a lot of things. People can actually bomb the whole countries, right? Just because of the hasad, because of the illness. This hasad, right? People can spend millions of dollars just flying from US and Iraq and bomb the whole Iraq because of what? Because of the illness of the heart, right? So the miracle of this Quran, if this Quran can conquer this heart who can do fasad upon the earth and become closer, and these people become closer to Allah, that's probably the best miracle. And the Quran has been there, is for us, is just waiting for us to get closer to Allah through this Quran. And I think one of the things we do is just learn the feature, learn the fadilah of reading Quran and so on. I think psychologically human move because two things. Number one, because of reward. Number two, because of punishment. Right? Don't stand there. Why? Something will fall and then you move. You move because you're afraid of something will harm you. So that's human being. Psychologically, we go towards something that good. We go back from something that will harm us. So if you're understanding the virtues of reading Quran, of memorizing Quran, inshallah we get closer to Allah, and then we start experiencing the miracle of Quran, the miracle of moving our heart, getting our heart closer to Allah. Alright, so that is what I can share with you today. Not much, but hopefully most of you already know, so just probably a reminder to get closer to Allah by understanding the blessings, the blessing with interactions of Quran. One of the things that motivate me to memorize Quran is sometimes when I wake up at night and I feel like really in a high spirit and take wudu and everything, Ya Allah, I just memorize one ayah, I want to show it to you, Ya Allah. It's like I'm in business, Ya Allah. Right? So this is one of the things that encouraged me to read Quran. So and inshallah, all of us become the people of Quran, people who fall in love to Quran, with Quran, and then people get closer to Allah and closer every day because of through Quran. Inshallah, Jazakumullah khair. If anyone has any questions to ask, inshallah, of course the easy one.
Jazakallah khair, bro Arief. Very insightful, inshallah. And so, anybody has any questions to ask about the topic?
Simple question.
Regarding your example, it was really good for the mother reading the letter.
Yeah.
For most of the people here in Hong Kong who are doing in business,
Yeah.
we say that if a letter came, that had something mentioned about cash in it,
Yeah.
but it was in some other language.
Yeah. We learn it.
Anything to translate it, to get that cash
Yeah.
from the bank.
Yes.
Yeah. But when it comes to the Quran, obviously, we're neglectful.
Yeah.
But what I want to basically say on the other example that you also said, how we pass information continuously, like ayah of the Quran, which is passive,
Yeah.
before even stopping and reflecting. How do we sort of go back and avoid spiritual numbness, if you may say, and we really like ponder, think, when you look at an ayah. Once back in the days when you start practicing Islam, everything kind of hits you. After some time, it's a bit relaxed. You don't interact as much. What can we do for this? What kind of solution do you have? Inshallah.
Okay. I think again, two things. I think from my understandings, some of the issues I experience that people sharing messages and stuff like that. Number one is really knowledge, about learning the knowledge. Today, just now, people, it's just so funny today, someone sent me, you cannot, in Indonesia it's quite common to put the wife names and then the husband name, or something like that, right? And then people just quoted hadith that is haram to do this and so on. And it's like, this is again, is a knowledge is number one. Number two is humility. Humility. When you say hadith, when you say ayat, the first thing you see, this is good for my cousin. He always delay in salah. This is the first thing you do, right? Because it's all about other people, not us. I remember one of the Sahaba, the Hudayfa bin Yaman. He's the only person that when Angel Jibril reveals all the munafiqun in Medina to Rasulullah did not mention any one of the Sahaba except one, Hudayfa bin Yaman. Except only one. So he's the secret keeper of Rasulullah SAW, even until Rasulullah passed away. And Umar bin Khattab, I don't know Umar bin Khattab or Abu Bakr, Umar bin Khattab, I think. He was asking Udhaifa, I think, can, yeah, Udhaifa, can can you tell me who's in the Munafiqun? What Hudayfa says, you're fine, I'm fine. You're fine because you're not in the list. So what Umar bin Khattab is worried about whether he is in the list rather than who's in the list, right? So this is like Abu Bakr, he's already promised Jannah. He says, not until all my blood fit in Jannah, I will not be so sure. So we should be having that sort of reflections in us, and every time an ayah comes to us, rather than forward right away, we just say, reflect to us, have we ever implemented this or not? Do we understand this? Do we understand this ayah? How the Sahaba understand this ayah? Have we learned about this, rather than just forward and stuff like that? I think, yeah, ilm, number one. Number two is being humble. Inshallah.
Any other questions? Yes?
Reading English Quran, right, is quite different from Chinese. I mean, and how to I follow which view. I mean,
Yeah.
something like the same chapter, maybe like that.
Yeah. Okay. The brother asks how.
It's a bit different, but
Yeah. How do you how do you come about if you read the English translation of the Quran, and in the Quran sometimes they have different meanings, different understanding. I would say that the English translation of the Quran is just a door for you to the Quran, right? It's just a door for you, and reading the Quran and understanding is just a life journey, right? So is better to really proper studies and learn Arabic and probably, yeah, rather than just only the.
So like the English is very simple for me.
Yes, yes.
But if I read my own language,
Yeah.
it's a bit different.
Yes, of course.
I don't know why, but I don't know how to explain.
Yes, yeah. This I remember one of my colleagues. He's from Egypt office. I remember he was telling me this story. He's an Arab person, right? And he didn't speak any other language except Arab for most of his time, and then after that he studied in US, and he learned English and studied in US. He told me one day he was attending one of the halaqah, and the halaqah was in English. And the Shaykh mentioned something that he already knows this Quran and the understand and also the meaning of it in Arabic, because he speaks Arabic. But when the Shaykh mentioned it in English, it's like it struck him. Like, I never heard this before. This is awesome. This is good, right? So apparently you have to keep trying, right? Salah is just. If you don't, just because you're Arabic, you can pick up right away. I remember when we were reading Quran and serving Islam thing, and was Brother Sabur, I can't remember, and asked Brother Wire to recite Quran, and he corrected. You correcting my Arabic? No, I'm not correcting my Arabic. I'm correcting your tajweed, right? So it is an ongoing journey for us to understand the Quran. But if you have any English translations, and I would say this is just a door for us to get closer to Quran and start learning the real one, the real Quran.
Sometimes in our own language, when they give examples, for example, in my own language, if somebody gives an example, it kind of hits home. It happens.
Yes.
Obviously, the optimal level is Arabic.
Yes, of course.
Arabic.
Yeah.
But when we go back to our birthplace and our relatives and relations and surroundings that we grow up with, somebody gives an example from there. Alhamdulillah, sometimes it really strikes you.
Indonesian is quite a young language. I find some of the words when expressed in English, because one of the limitations in Indonesia, there's no word. You cannot say I love you to your father, because there's no word for that, right? Like my daughter, I love you, Dad. I cannot say that to my father. I cannot find the right word, right? So just that. Probably you can find the word, but it does not deliver the same meaning, right? That's what you mean. The word, I feel awkward saying it. Put it that way. It's just. Because we cannot say. If you say that, it's like in a movie when like a Hollywood movie, they translate it between boys, girls, and girlfriends make about zina. That's the word they use. The word love, cinta, is not the right. Yeah, it's not like my daughter. I love you, dad, and she hugged me. So it's different. You cannot translate that, right? And my mom comes from one province in Israel where just to fall down, they have 12 different words for fall down. Depends on how fast you fall, how deep you fall, which part of your body you fall. Right? So that is just different 6 or 7 words of just to fall. Just when I say this word, you cannot translate it even to Indonesian. You cannot translate because you lost in translation, whether head first or butt first. Right? So that is one of the examples. So again, language to language is my mother is West Sumatran, around Padang. Yeah. Yeah.
I just have a comment for this because I'm Arabic and
Yeah.
I can understand also.
Yeah.
When the Quran revealed in Arabic, but even Allah has said one sentence in the Arabic that "Inna sanulqi alayka qawlan thaqila," which is not easy to understand. The Quran, not easy to understand. Even too many scholars which have make the explanation of the Quran, tafsir, too many. When you read in this tafsir, you will find another one, another meaning in the same ayah.
Yeah.
But Allah has said in the Quran also, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا
القرآن
الْقُرْآنَ
للذكر
فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also will, the one who seeking guidance, He will make it easy for him, but after few levels. So in my mind, when I started, I just read the ayah, and then I go to ask brother why, for example, and then I ask brother Jabir, ask brother another one, till I find what is closer to me. I read it and here. So from this, what you pick up from this ayah, it's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to understand.
MashaAllah.
So we can read the same ayah, but you have meaning, and then I have meaning, and another one have another meaning, which all refers to this ayah, which is one of the miracle of the Quran.
Subhanallah.
One ayah, but too many
Yeah.
understanding. And as you say, Arabic, some same as Alif Lam Mim. What the translation of Alif Lam Mim? No one can translate or can. You just say it in the same.
Yeah.
With all the language, you will say
Alif Lam Mim.
but no one will understand what the meaning of Alif Lam Mim.
MashaAllah.
That's it. But with the time, inshallah, it will be easy for the to get step by step.
Yes.
That's it.
Just my
MashaAllah.
one clarification. That's it.
Yeah, Arabic, I
Very
can
small.
understand it. Arabic.
It's my because it says like it.
Yeah.
Too many.
Yeah.
Whenever we are in our, in a young age, like we have been told that the Quran cannot be understood.
Yes. Not
So-
easy. Allah has said in the Quran, إِنَّا سَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا.
Yes, that is one.
It's not easy to
So
Yeah.
you just tell me that. I mean, what is the difficulty to understand Qul huwallahu ahad? How many meanings?
Mutashabihat and
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. How many meanings is there?
Yeah.
We just ask that the alims who say that you cannot understand Quran meaning. I just ask them, what is the difficulties? Qul huwallahu ahad. Tell me how many meanings is there. So no one can answer it. So how many meanings? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. How many meanings is there?
One scholar, he make 100 books to only to explain Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, and at the end, and he said Allah only knows.
So intellectually you can elaborate
Yeah.
the meaning.
Yeah.
That is the different thing.
Yeah.
But understanding, it is not very difficult to.
What you
That
get
is what-
inside
that
your
is
heart
the-
is the one that Allah wants you to get. This is if you
I
really want
think
to understand.
I think if
That is the inspiration that
Yeah.
if you read
Yeah.
it again and again, you think about it
Yes.
again and again.
Yeah.
It
But for
comes-
the beginners, it can give a full
Yeah.
message and the full meaning.
Yeah.
Who has no difficulty to understand that.
I think I can draw the same line this, which is I think there will be some personal experience, personal journey, right? But even what you understand now, after reading it, after probably reading more tafsir about this, then you start reading, oh, this is actually more to just to that, right? But at any level of your knowledge, and level of your experience, any level of your ilm, there's always some meaning for you can benefit from, right? Inshallah.
I think
Personal
maybe
experience.
one last question is why Arabic? What's the reason for the language Arabic? Right? Many people will ask these questions.
Why is Arabic? I have two answers, I think. The first answer, I think there are many times in Quran, brother, this mentions Inna anzalna Qur'ana Arabiya la'alakum taqilun, right? There's a few ayah that Allah mentions, I give Quran in Arabic for you to think, for you to ponder. What it means is Allah has decided to use Quran. At the same time, Allah has decided to use Jibril as the messengers within the Malaikat. Allah has decided to use Rasulullah, Prophet Muhammad, as the messenger, and Allah has decided to use Arabic as the means. If from my IT perspective, there's hardware and the software. Hardware is this individual, is this if these characters become the message, the delivery of the message, but there's also a software to that, which is the language itself. So the language itself is Allah make that language is to be able to carry the message. So this is Allah's decision. So that this is the first question. But sometimes you want to ask, but okay, okay.
There's one, don't know which chapter, but I read, they say in heaven, there's all the people who speak Arabic.
Yes, I heard about that as well. I don't know whether the hadith is. Have you heard that? Yeah, I also heard about that. There's one particular language that we can use later, but I don't know whether it's gonna be Arabic. I heard some sort of similar stories.
No, the hadith, I know that everyone who said Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Rasulullah, he will be in heaven.
Yeah.
But
What language we will speak in heaven? Yeah.
too many non-Muslim, they speak Arabic and then they fight even Islam.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably the first answer. The second answer. Sometimes when people ask that, they tend to ask on a different angle, like especially they compare to their religion. I have, for example, the Bible. I have Chinese Bible. I have English Bible. I have this. The way I answer to that is, sometimes Allah is the one who is in command. Allah has decided. Allah has not tried to sell us anything, right? Well, people doesn't want to go to church because I don't have this. I don't want to go to that because I don't have this. The religion in Islam is not about that, right? It's the religion is Islam. Allah has already ordained. We're not up to us. We're not customer, right? We're not the customer of Allah. The customers. This, for example, smartphone. Where is the Japanese manual? Where is the Indonesian manual? Where is it? You can ask. You can for that, and people will give it because they want this product to be sold. Allah is not trying to sell us anything, right? So from that perspective, is you see that this is Allah has put this, and we just accept that, and who we are, we just the slave of Allah. So this is again, this is more sort of akidah. If someone asks them, normally from the non-Muslims, I put it aside as it's more sort of akidah questions. It's the same questions as anyone else. Just put them into the realm of Islam first. That this is what Allah we see Allah as the Lord, that entirely whatever we eat, our sustenance, everything coming from Him. He decided this, and we just take it. Okay, but it's more sort of akidah.
Shall we put the insistence for the linguistic language for Arabic? This is to understand Islam.
I think the door to understand Quran is through Arabic.
Yeah, of course, that is right. But is there, because this question is always put forward,
Yeah.
that means that we are giving some preference to certain nationalities as who can understand better than the other nationalities. Like Ismail can understand
Yeah.
Quran than me. Don't take it offended.
It's not
No,
like
no,
that.
no. No. This is from the other people. The questions is always been put
Yeah,
forward.
we always ask.
Just,
Yeah, for
no,
the dawah.
I just if you keep reading the Quran or searching or try to understanding the Quran or search for the explanation of the Quran,
Yeah, that is.
that you will get the highest knowledge.
Yeah, that is.
It
Right.
doesn't refer to Arabic or whatever.
Yeah.
Correct.
And
Yeah,
some
that's the
people
good
or
way
he will
expression.
write Quran, but they don't understand what
Because
is
Yeah.
Quran.
this type of question is always been put forward. Is it we have to consistently put the conditions that we need.
I like your example when you say it's what cash in any language you try to spread. You try to understand it, right? Even you mentioned before.
Like my own language, right?
No, they said if, in this business there's a word cash
Oh,
in
cash,
yeah, and you try to understand it, whether it's a Chinese characters or
There's
Japanese
money involved,
yeah, what is
there's
money,
dunya
because
involved.
you're interested to it to learn, right? People learn a lot of things. People spend time to learn a lot of things, and people spend money and even get loan to get to university degrees and so on. Why? Because they want to do that. They wanted to achieve something. I probably see that sort of questions as I don't want to learn. I just want to be as it is right now. I don't want to. This is probably sometimes I feel that as well. Do I have to be like this? But again, for me to get to what I work right now, how I work right now, I spend times in my university. I'm burning the midnight oil and everything. That's for my dunya. But have I done the same sacrifice for that? So I think. Until we actually try to learn, then I'm still far away from learning this, and I don't even know how to say it properly. Even in the forum like this, all the words in Arabic disappear from my mouth.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Arif. So inshallah, I think we'll close up with that. And we will have Isha Salah in Jama'ah here. Who would like to stay here, you can inshallah. We'll Isha Salah. And please inshallah keep supporting us, through your du'as and your financial support and all other support. You can come to Street Dawah and help us inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam.
Allah is the one, the